everybody. This your girl Romunda with the D on front. Come by where what? You already know what I do. You already know what time of day it is. You already know it's Wednesday. Yes, it's Wednesday. And this is what Red Hot Topics with who? My girl, Dr. Roni DeLuz, all the way from where? Martha's Vineyard. Yeah, Martha's across the water. You can't even drive over there. You got to take a boat over there to see how that's just how important she is. You got to ride on the waterways to get your wellness. But guess what? It's all worth it at the end of the day. But guess what? I'm going to do you a better favor. I'm going to bring her closer to your screen. Yeah, tonight. And we're going to talk about your brain waves, your neurological brain waves, and how they function and how they are labeled in so many different ways, either for the positive or for the negative. But at the end of the day, guess what? Dr. Ryan is going to come in all the way from the waters herself, and she's going to educate us on why it's important that we are educated on that. Me being a gut health educator, talk about the wholeness of the body, but her, man, I'm telling you right now, she bring a whole new another light to what we talk about. So guess what? I'm going to bring in tonight on this lovely, lovely evening, my girl, Dr. Roni DeLuz, all the way from where y'all, those water slides of Martha Vineyard. Dr. Roni, how are you tonight, my sister? How are you?
Oh my goodness. Today was a beautiful hot day. So I did all
Okay.
my clients and my patients outside on the porch.
Wow. What a
Yeah, so
vitamin
that
D
was
day, huh?
beautiful. We couldn't handle it anymore inside. We had to go out in the sunshine. But it was nice, you know?
Awesome.
And the day goes by so fast. And here we are speaking about one of the subjects that I did not have time to think about it. Yeah, because I'm on
Mhm.
with you so fast. The day goes by so fast. But when I go back and think about the years of doing the work that I do, I
Yeah.
was always in touch, always lined up with neurodivergent people.
Yeah.
I was always with them and I always got along with them. And I know a lot of people might be listening like, what is neurodivergent people and who are they? Right? I
Yeah.
love them because they're just people like us that's just wired differently. And
I've
I
been
think
told I
that
was
people
wired
like
differently.
that, you know, I people like that, they know who the other person is. I'm wired differently. I
Mhm.
didn't know I was wired differently until my daughter, who's now almost 40, in her 30s, she would say it all the time. And I thought she was just being, you know how we think our girls, you know, girls are just different.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We boys are okay with us, you know, but our girls, I go, why are you
Straightforward.
telling people stuff like that? She would tell people, my mother don't live in this world, so don't expect her to think like you.
Heard that one before.
Right.
Heard that one before. My mother may be a little way out there, but just
Right.
okay. She all right, but
She's all
she'll
right.
come back in and break it down for us. Yeah,
Exactly.
got
And
that too.
so, you know, so who are these neurodivergent people? They're people that we see all the time, but there's some people can't handle them.
Hmm.
They're the ADHD, they're the autistic, they're the dyslexia, there's the OCD, there's the PTSD. There's a lot of them.
Hmm.
There's the Tourette's. I used to have a very favorite, wonderful client. He was 22 years old. He had Tourette's syndrome. Loved him. And people will say, you better be very, very careful with Brian. Be careful. Lock your door. I go, oh my goodness, what is up with this being careful stuff? I love this kid. He loves me. He loves the world. He loves you. He loves everybody. But we're different today, Doc. I think now we're starting to accept a lot of differences in the way we used to be 20, 30 years ago. And I think
But you know why
we're
though? Don't you know why, Doc? Because people
I
starting to see themselves in it.
is
That's why.
that what it
They starting to see themselves like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Maybe a touch of it has touched over here.
is?
You
Maybe
know,
I'm a little bit
maybe I found
PTSD.
I'm a little bit touched too. And people
Yeah.
are quick to judge others, but not realizing there's four fingers that's pointing back at us,
Yes. Yeah.
ourselves. So, um,
Yeah. You're probably right. And I think that, you know, I think that especially with the world the way it is today, I think we're more tolerant of a lot of things, you
yeah,
know. But we're
yeah,
definitely more. I think we're instead of us looking at bad, I think we see the good in them. Yeah, I mean, I saw the good in Brian. I saw the good. You know, I live with a person that's I know is neurodivergent, but you know, I don't want to mention any names. I gotta be real careful. I'm gonna be really good tonight. I'm going to try to,
Thank you,
but
Doc. We appreciate that.
but but at the end of the day, I think we they all have a piece of them that we need, and that's good.
Mhm.
I know a lot of neurodivergent people are really technical savvy, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and a lot of them have skills that we don't have, and some of those skills we don't like, but it's helpful to have the
Yeah.
skills that they have.
Yeah. I was telling this one day was at this contract. I was on this job, and this lady kept saying, "Oh, she is so strange. You got to be watch out for her." I said, "What make her strange?" I like strange people because they the smartest ones to me. When somebody say they're strange, that draws me closer to know more
Yeah,
about that person. I'm like, "Oh, really?" And I need to find out what's so strange that you find them strange. You don't find yourself strange, but you can call
right.
somebody else strange. So if you think she's strange, then maybe I need to connect to her because she's gonna say stuff and he's gonna say things that's going to be so interesting to you that you the only one can relate because everybody think it's strange. Now
That's
realize
right.
they may be the ones strange because they can't understand it.
That's
So you're
right.
looking at talking about the different complex of understanding the brain waves out here. We're talking about how people think, how people I always I was telling them I was talking about the receptors about almost about 10, 20, 30 years ago about the receptors, way before people even got into health and wellness like they are in today. So I was always talking about the brain waves and the receptors, how they connect to our body. So people thought it was a foreign thing to talk about, not realizing that we all have a different stages of the neuro, how the brain function, how the brain think, how the receptors trigger. But they don't realize when you go to the hospitals and they put these machines on you, what do you think they're doing? They're resetting your generator.
Yeah, I know. That's right.
You
That's
see?
that's I'll put on my red hot glasses for that one. I,
Yeah,
I'm
they
not gonna get bad. You're getting bad. Ooh,
they reset in the generator. You know, you
yeah,
go to the car, you go to take your car to the shop, and they put a diagnostic treatment on it. What do you think they're doing? You see?
yeah,
So they're not understanding the connection that we all have receptors that can get a blockage, like you mentioned, PTSD, anxiety. All these things come from wires that are not bumping together, but they're disconnecting some kind of way.
that's right.
But it's not always for the negative. It's because it's just time for a reset or a reboot. Explain to the people that I feel as though that misunderstand the brain waves and the chemical reaction to how it responds to what you give it. And
That's
matter of
right.
fact, hold on, we got Sonia. Sonia's our co-host, y'all. We have Sonia here. She's here hanging out with us tonight, all the way from California.
Hey, hey,
California.
hey. I love
Hey,
hanging out with you ladies because you know
what's
what?
going on, California?
California is pretty beautiful right now. It's about 6:30 or so. Um, we just gotten some awesome weather out here. But
Wow.
I'm gonna tell you, I want to
Do
let
not brag
everybody know
about your
out there.
weather. No, we got rain over here. Do not
Yeah.
brag about your weather. We got floodgates over here going on.
Oh,
So talk about your
I'm
weather
sorry.
over here on this.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I want to send my sunshine to you. That's what I want. Let me tell you. That's all I want in life is to send you all the sunshine. But you know what? I
Awesome.
want to let people know tonight that we love everyone's brain. We love your brain. We know that everyone operates at a different beat. Okay. And here tonight, we're hoping to help you find solutions on what is this divergent um, diagnosis, like ADHD, autism, you name it, OCD, like you said, post traumatic brain disorder, dyslexia, so many different
How about
things.
human life itself?
Exactly. You know, we try to make, I think the medical field makes labels to kind of put everybody in a compartment, right? To be able to
well,
treat
they
them.
want everybody to be the same, so they give you the. Remember the kids that when they were young, they would give them Ritalin. I mean, it was like 50% of the kids were getting Ritalin in the
Right,
classroom because they were different. They were wired differently. Some
right.
they didn't want to just sit there like they didn't we said good little kids, but in their brain it was like I'm being punished because I have to sit here with my hands on my
Yeah.
lap and my mouth shut. And that was cruelty to these kids, you know?
Right.
Um
No, that's very true. I mean, I
mhm.
worked for a neurologist here in one of the hospitals in Orange County, and we seen children like that come in. And there was a lot of, I was fortunate to work with a doctor that was doing research on metabolic issues, which is where I want to go, Dr. Ronnie, because we know that the gut is the second brain.
That's right.
Give folks some ideas how to support their brain through their gut, Dr. Roni. What is it that they can do that might be calming or aggravating their mental status or their mental state, their anxieties, their depressions, all these things that happen where they can't focus and concentrate, where people are mislabeling them. Because honestly, all we want to do is we all want to contribute to this world. Give us some ideas of what we can do to help ourselves.
First we have to understand that when we're talking about neurodivergent, there's so many different signs and symptoms. When I think about them, I always think about, because in over the last 40 years, I've come up with a lot of them that have come to the retreat when I didn't even know. Because we don't want to give them a diagnosis. We just want to say that there's some things that are going on metabolically, and we can help them. But the one thing we can't do is destroy them. Some of them have sound problems. Seriously, an overactive sound. They hear things differently than we do. So we have to deal with that, right? And some of them have a smell, like an overwhelming smell. We call it a sensory problem, right? Some of them have lights. You ever seen some of them that the light is overwhelming to them. And then some of them can't sit still. And then some of them are super, 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 super shy, where they can't even speak. And some of them are so intense where we're afraid of them. So, with all of this that I'm saying, is that they're wired differently. So, what we have to do is we have to understand who they are as people and deal with that issue. Because if you don't, what they are afraid of, they're very good at masking their social challenges. They're very good at it. Like I know for a fact that some of them who are so seriously shy that will never talk are brilliant, brilliant. But you'll never know that they're brilliant because they're masking their other symptoms. Now, we know that food and processed food is going to contribute to that, and an out of balance gut, because we say the gut is our second brain, right? But on top of giving them good food, which is not going to touch the situation, what we have to do is understand as human beings how to help them with the symptomatology that they're presenting to us. Because if we don't help them with that, then they're going to do what? Mask. And this is when it becomes dangerous, when you get a lot of neurodivergent people masking who they really are. And I'll give you an example. That's why I put my red glasses on, because I'm dealing with some right now, right? I know a neurodivergent person that's in my space every 2, 3 days. He'll come here. And I know that he'll say some of the most oddest things. If he say these things to the average person, I know for a fact that he'll either go run away, go back in his little cubby hole and never come out because he doesn't feel loved, needed, wanted. What I do is I said, that was absolutely brilliant what you just said. And he goes, really? I go, absolutely brilliant. Now, I didn't have to understand. I've learned this in my last couple of years of working at one of the most amazing hospitals in this country, when we were going to take our CEUs, and I had to pass those CEUs in order to stay working in that hospital. And one of the things that I was taught was never disagree totally with a neurodivergent person that may be possibly dangerous to you or to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
What,
Yep.
what was I supposed to say to him?
Yeah.
Oh, that is the most ludicrous, craziest thing I've ever heard. No, I said it was brilliant. And
Because
he
you never
gave
know
me
what
a
you're
hug.
triggering. You
I'm
never know
not
the trigger points. People have
right.
triggers, and you never know what you're triggering just
That's
by
right.
using certain words could trigger.
That's
So you
right.
But
have
you
to
know,
know how to handle
yeah,
conversations like that when you already know, as they want to label them, but when they get them that medication, it just turns it into a monster, or they turn them into aggressiveness. They turn them into the depressions. That's why the next thing they know, they put them on antidepressants to go along with it. And they
Right.
just want to be just life. They just want to enjoy it, but you're attacking against their brilliancy. You're attacking against the ability for them to do and be independent. And that's what makes them upset, because you're stripping them of their life.
Dr. Ramunda, but Dr. Roni hit it on the nail. They want to be loved. They want to be accepted. They
Yeah.
want to be seen. And when you come with a genuine heart and you say something like you said, Dr. Ronnie, that child feels more loved and more
Yeah.
seen than anybody in this world. And that might have been the first time someone paid close attention to him. You know, all of us, we're here on this show, Dr. Ronnie. Why? Because we have something to say that might help somebody. And we have the courage to stand up on a stage and do it. That child, when he gets the courage, and I tell you this because we had a 4th of July party, and one of the moms had a son that was maybe about 16, 17 years old. This kid was so shy. And I'm the photographer. If you go to my Facebook, you can see all the pictures from our 4th of July party. And this kid was really, really quiet when I got there. The music came on and we started dancing and he started dancing. And the mom was surprised, never seen this kid dance. But we were
Oh,
like rooting him on and he was just going at it even harder. And I was just so happy to see him that happy. I'd rather see happiness in people. And like you said, I've seen people with Tourette's, they don't mean to say those bad words. I
right.
used to work checkout and the guy would say the F word every time he came out to
Well,
checkout.
well, I guess everybody got Tourette then because this is a cussing society. That's
He
the
would
case.
say it and I didn't understand why he was cursing at me because I was new to the facility and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, why is he saying that to me? And it wasn't to me, it was something he couldn't control. But I'm so glad you
Right.
said that, Dr. Ramanda. You're right. You're right. You start giving, okay, look, watch. I have a couple kids. Um, it was hard. It was heartbreaking for me when I took them to the doctors because they were struggling in school and they were like 14 years old at this point. And the doctor was like blunt. He's like, lady, you're not helping your kids by not letting them get the help that they need. Your kids have ADHD, they have this. So he started putting labels on my kids.
Oh boy. Yeah, I know. That's what they do.
And they started
Mhm.
taking the medicine. And what happened? One of them said, Mom, I feel agitated. I feel aggressive. Just like you said, Dr. Ramunda, some of these medications might help with the focus, but the
Right.
side effects that potentially could come with it could be even worse, right? And
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about here tonight is like finding a natural way to help yourself and help your
Mm-hmm.
child through diet, through changes in behavior, to learning how to work with them, to love them a little bit more. You know, and I know we have Ashley here tonight too, and I'm hoping at the end Ashley will come in because I know we were going to have Isaiah, but maybe Ashley can give us some of the perspective of what a young adult goes through because I think we have a lot of young adults watching this show, and they may not. We're going to let you get ready for it, Ashley, but I think we have another segment that we have to do because we're
Uh,
always. I want to say it's red hot
But we
potatoes.
want, hey Sonia, first we want you to breathe. We want you to breathe, Sonia. We want you to breathe because you're not breathing at all. You just going like, and I was
well,
like, Sonia needs
she's
to
a
breathe,
neurodivergent tonight.
right?
I
So
was like that last night.
so let's now take a pause for a second and give our brain time to catch up with what Sonia was talking about, but also give ourselves time to get into the next segment, which is based on talking about the nutrition part of it. Like what does it take to reset the mindset through the nutritional of how the body. I understand the digestive because I specialize in gut health. So when you're talking about understanding gut health and what the body needs and what it doesn't need, a lot of times people give it more of what it doesn't need because they've never been taught to give themselves what they need. Oops, did y'all hear that? And so in the midst of all of that is based on Dr. Ronnie from the nutritional part of the brain feeding. What does the brain need to have to be able to activate the life without uh the attack of not giving them what they need to have?
Well, I think a lot of times the thing what we need to be asking ourselves, they're being masked with the drug. Like for an example, one of the most important things about the brain, it needs amino acids. And it needs essential amino acids. And the word essential means you cannot live without it. So essential amino acids is protein, correct? So we know that, and we know it's essential, then we know that person needs essential amino acids, which is protein, complete protein. We also know that the brain needs essential fatty acids. And the word essential again is your brain cannot live, we cannot live without essential fatty acids. Now, it has never said that our brain needs essential sugar. There's no such thing as essential sugar. Fruits was always created for in seasonal, and it also has antioxidant properties, but it never said the word essential. So what do these kids live off of mostly when they're young and they're neurodivergent? A lot of them, because their brain needs it all the time to get them through the day, is the sugar, and it's not essential. They were living off of sugar, especially a lot of them that weren't taking their medications, soda, sugar, and all kinds of things. The other thing that the brain needs is a good, healthy fiber, probiotics, and prebiotics, as you know, to keep the gut healthy, because the gut, as we know it today, is our second brain. They never talked about this many years ago, but now we all know that, right? So we got to make sure the gut is healthy and we give them good fiber. And the fiber is what keeps the colon clean. And then after that, we know vegetables is a cleanse food, constantly removing the toxic material from the body by giving them all colors of the spectrum of vegetables. And if we can do that, besides doing integrative blood work and finding out, are they missing something? Because a lot of times it's just because someone's young doesn't mean they don't have hormonal imbalance. I have found many kids. I know a 10-year-old right now who have huge hormonal imbalance, started her period when she was 8 years old. And today at 10, she's over estrogen. So now we've got some estrogenic problems. I know lots of boys, little boys, who hardly have any testosterone at all. So here we are dealing with some of these issues, and we have to, on a metabolic basis, help them with that. Besides their nutrition, we have to help them with what are they missing.
So, Doc, also talk about the heavy metals. Heavy
Yes.
metals is one of the biggest problems that we all have in our bodies that make our body not only very acidic, but it also triggers the uncommon things that our body doesn't have or look for in reference to when they come down for the lead poisons, the leads, you
And
know,
mercury.
and the
Mercury
mercury.
was huge.
Yeah.
A lot of people have mercury brain toxicity in their children, depending
Hmm.
on where they lived in the regions. You
Yeah.
know, there's many third culture countries where people are grown with mold toxicity, and they just live within a mold environment. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of reasons to have neurodivergent. Those are not some of the main reasons. I mean, we even have frontal lobe injury, you know. But besides all of that, some of the ones that touch my soul and touch my heart are the ones who are very toxic, who live in a world of toxicity, and that's why they have neurodivergent.
So, what would you suggest in reference to when it come down for um, the detoxing part of that? How would you talk about the treatments, and how would you break down, explain to them why it's so important that we do detox? It doesn't even, you don't even have to be caught in a label first and foremost. It's not even about being labeled now because people like to label, but tell them the importance of why we should detox to prevent these things from happening. And there's nothing wrong with detoxing your children as well as grown
Well,
adults.
see, you know what? A lot of people misunderstand the word detox. You know, we've come a long way. Now we know we're not talking about drug detox. And now we know we're not talking about weight loss detox. And now we know we're not talking about detoxing for all these things that are vanity. We are literally talking about cleaning the bloodstream of things like metal toxicity, cleaning the blood of bacteria, cleaning the blood, shedding viruses out of the body. Some of these kids go to school on a daily basis, and they're literally loaded with all types of viruses. We now have children that have liver disease based on the fact that they've been carrying the hepatitis virus for so many years. So yeah, that's called senolytic therapy. That's called senolytic detoxing. But there's also metal detoxing. There's also chelation. There's also candida cleanse. I mean, there's so many different ways to clean up the body. But again, we have to stick with the fact that every one of these diagnoses are unique, and all of them require what's called personalized medical platforms. And that's why I do personalized medicine, is because I know that I can't take one person and treat them all the same because they're all different. A child that have a metal toxicity, for me, is the most painful thing, because that means that their brain is being toxic. And let's say, for an example, mercury. I remember a child about 25 years ago when I was working at Yale New Haven Hospital. His mom was there, and I remember the thing that caught my attention the most was the metal toxicity that this child had, and that was the reason for the seizures. It was not a medication, was not the reason for the seizures, but what did the person get? The medication. They never ever detox the kid from the metals.
Yeah. And that's still to today, because if you look at so much of the paint that we paint our houses with, the toys that the kids are playing with, I mean, it's so many ways that we can get affected, and they're not even thinking about it, because everything is about beautification. Everything is about making the home look good, or making the kids happy, or even to the point the clothes they put on. We put on, not just kid, but we put on, that we're not
Mhm.
even washing the chemicals out of them before we let it touch our skin, and not
Right.
realize the skin is the largest organ that absorbs, and secrete as well as absorb, but it absorbs so much toxins and heavy metals as well. So yeah, that was good. That was good. What you think, Sonya? What you think? What you think? Because we're gonna move on to the next segment, but that was very good. What's your feedback, Sonya?
You know
A
what?
short feedback.
I just totally believe, even like the air fryers that they just, came out with, what, a few years back. I seen somebody mention on, I think it was a TikTok, that their autistic son, they took him in and they were wondering, why does this child have such high levels of metals? And you think about an air fryer, air running through all
Yeah.
this electrical stuff and causing the circulation and all the metals coming off these hot wires.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why you'll see them thrown out now, because people are saying, you know what, I'm going to get what is it, a glass one, or an all non-metal one, stainless steel one. But honestly, sometimes we're so quick, like you said, Dr. Ramunda, to go enhance and buy the thing on Temu or whatever it is, not realizing how that product has been made,
Yeah.
especially clothes. We have a lot of clothing that is being worn that has plastic on it. Those are forever chemicals. Another post that I seen was that one neuroscientist was saying that almost the size of a spoon, a plastic spoon, was found in an Alzheimer's patient, in their brain. That's how much plastic was found in their brain. So I mean, convenience. Yeah, we go out to eat, we put the hot food in that plastic thing, but you don't know how much of that stuff is attaching to your food. Even the aluminum foil you're using. These are all things that we got to shift. We have to
Right.
shift
Mm-hmm.
and start making a change. And they might be simple, they might be hard at the beginning, but small changes, man, can make great places to go for our future generations. Because honestly, we know what's one question that the doctor asks when you show up: what's in your family history? And when all these things start showing up, that doesn't mean you need to own them. You can shift it, you can change it.
Mm-hmm.
That great topic, Dr. Ramunda. I'm not sure if you're ready for another segment. Are we ready for the sizzling hot news, or not yet? No,
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 no, no, no,
no,
no,
no.
Sonya.
Hey,
No, no,
Yay
no.
or
We,
nay?
I want to own
Sonya,
ADD,
no.
but I'm just a
Sonya,
little bit
no.
excited tonight.
Sonya, no. Sonya, put on brakes. Put on brakes, Sonya. Put on brakes. We are about to have the nay or yay moment. Sonya, put on brakes, girl. We got
Papa,
this.
can you say that?
We're doing the nay or yay.
We're going
Okay.
to nay or yay at this moment, Sonya. We got some nay or yay. And guess what our nay or yay is based on? Dun-dun-dun-dun. Energy. Energy.
Energy.
Energy
Okay.
drinks. Energy drinks for focus. Now, good and well. Is that a nay or yay? Do you need to have an energy drink for your focus? Are they good for you, or are they not good for you? A yay or nay?
Well, let me tell you, about 5 years ago, uh, it was very dear person close to my heart, child, would go into the 7-Eleven every day, and I can't remember what energy drink it was, but it was very bad for that person's heart. Ended up with a heart attack, a kid. So these energy drinks, guys, is not something to fool around with. All right. Some of them are just innocent and have a little B12 in it. But can you imagine doing it every couple of hours? Ooh, I like that feeling. Let me get another one. Ooh, like that feeling. And your heart starts racing because
Mm,
in order to get the energy, what do you have to have? Something to increase the heart rate. It's
yeah.
not for kids. It should not be in the convenience stores. No, nay, no.
So now we say that is a no and a nay because it gives them heart palpitations and some more craziness. Tell me, what would you suggest, as Sonia say, time out? What would you suggest in
Teach your
reference
kids
to?
how to do a smoothie with amino acids, green smoothie. Okay, it's our bodies only want one thing from us: nutrition. Okay,
Mm,
nutrition comes in so many good forms. It never want chemicals from us. You cannot hyperdose a vitamin because you want energy. You're supposed to naturally have energy. You're supposed to wake up with energy. You're not supposed to say, I'm going to the 7-Eleven, I'm just picking on that. Don't get mad at me. There's a lot of convenience stores, and say, I'm going to get that Red Bull, or that there's so many,
woo.
there's a lot of them out there. But it's just so sensitive to my heart because that young boy, only 17 years old, should have not have had a heart attack because of the energy drink.
And having heart palpitation and not realizing what he was having.
That's right. He's only 17.
So he
He
have no
probably thought
idea.
he probably thought it was a good feeling. Woo, my
Yeah.
heart.
And most people do. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah,
Because again, nobody was never introduced to themselves. You always hear me say, let me introduce you to you from the inside out. So that's a
that's
good one
right.
right there. I got another one for you, Dr. Right. That never nay and yay, y'all. Never nay and yay. Here we
Y'all
go.
asking
How about the micro dosing mushrooms for ADHD? Come on now.
micro dosing mushrooms. Micro dosing.
MICRODOSING.
Ooh, I'm scared of that.
Now, mushroom. Now, how we gonna take this mushroom? We're gonna
So
take the
listen.
mushroom and sit under the stars and
So
watch.
what are they doing? Are they having, what do you call it, these, when you do the mushroom
What is it called?
hallucinations?
Hallucination.
A lot of them were
What is
having
that other word?
hallucinations.
What is that new word for mushroom? They do what is it they doing with mushrooms now? It's called oh man, come on, Ashley, help us out. What's the word? What's the word for the mushroom that they doing? They taking mushroom.
It's like it's hallucinations. It's a psychedelic thing.
Mm-mm.
No, something else.
Mm-hmm. Shrooms, they shrooms. They taking mushrooms for shrooms, and they taking it and they're taking a mushroom to calm down the nerves or to see how they can wherever they at with taking the shrooms. It's shrooms now, known as the newest mushroom hit. So, but when you got microdosing mushrooms and for ADHD, Ashley, how you come up with this one? Explain this one. How you come up with this one? Explain
Ashley
this one, Ashley. Maybe
is
Ashley
around
should
some
come and tell us about
interesting
I
this.
people.
didn't
She be
come up
coming up
with
with
that
some
one.
interesting. Come on,
Wait,
I'm
oh,
just
Ashley.
wait,
interested in the answer.
Ashley gonna need to help us out a
we
little
figure
bit.
that, Ashley. We do that. Ashley trying to
Ashley,
set us up,
we don't,
talking about
we're
them
not like
shrooms.
young like you guys knowing about these shrooms. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Shrooms. She don't
I
even know
don't
how to
think
say it. Shrooms.
I do not think shrooms is legal. Okay. So for us to talk about somebody taking shrooms, I wouldn't think would be right. But I know of someone
I
that's
know
taken
plenty.
shrooms. Okay. And they had a good outcome because they were going through a very bad headache. So just know that there might be people out there that do take shrooms and have benefited from them. So, are we telling you to do this to your child? Of course not. They're not
Anybody.
even legal,
Anybody. You ever been
right?
invited to a shroom party? People like,
No,
you
I
ever tried
not me.
shroom before? Ramona, would you ever try shroom? I'm like,
We're pretty wild in California, but not nobody's
I don't
invited me
need
no
nothing
shrooms.
controlling my brain cells. There's enough that controls it. So yeah, so
You
that's already a
have a
nay for all
shroom
of us.
parties?
Nay.
There's shroom parties. I didn't know there was shroom parties.
Yes. Yes. Just to sit there and count the stars, and there might be only one. By the time they finish, they don't visit it and back. So, and again, that's a nay for all of us. Nay. No
everything
for no ADHD.
everything can
Nothing.
be taken out of context.
Yes.
And
Because
there's
mushrooms is a
always
fungal too. It's a fungal. You gotta be careful. The mushrooms that are out here is known as a fungal as well. So you gotta be definitely careful. So I'm not really Dr. Ron, is that a yay or nay?
nay.
Question. I have a question.
Sure, Ashley, you
So,
the one wrote this question. You tell us what your question is.
so, I've seen in stores where they have like, where you can put it in like your coffee or tea.
Mm-hmm.
Are those
Mm.
okay?
Yeah,
Okay, so now you're talking about that
everything is within moderation.
poquito.
And and the reason for that is that we're not saying mushrooms are bad. We're
Mm-hmm.
just saying the way they're using it. They're using it like a recreation. I never said that what do you call it? Where the kids are now doing the oils and you did the smoking, and the
The
weed they call
vapor.
this. There's so many things that you can call it now. So sometimes we just have to understand it's not the mushroom itself. It's not, you know, these chemicals all by itself. It's what they're doing to them. Like if you look at some of the things that are in the energy drink, I'm not against those things. Taurine's great, B12's great, but we're not talking about those innocent, isolated things. We're talking about them putting them all together in one drink, and that can make somebody's heart race. We're not talking about a little bit of mushrooms that they put in your coffee. That's great. We're talking about shrooms. So it's in the context of
Mm-hmm.
how they're taking these substances that can
Right.
cause harm to the body.
Yeah.
Right. Now,
That was
Dr.
a good
Ronnie,
one.
I see here microdosing it potentially can enhance the focus and flow states and reduce impulsivities, improve emotional regulations, promote neuroplasticity. Um, the thing is, there's not enough studies on it, obviously, and that's the thing about these shrooms. I think some people have felt that it might help, it might
But
increase
again,
cognitivity.
you're right, Sonia. But again, we're talking about isolated situations where they should have practitioners and coaches. We
Correct.
can't say yay, and the whole world starts going out there and goes, Ronnie says shrooms are good.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's why we're bringing these things up, right? And that's why we're talking about these things so that our kids are not hurt and that they don't have heart attacks.
Or their
There's so
dose. Don't forget about them dose, because them doses just
Right.
as bad. You
And
know.
because you say something's micro dosing, that doesn't
Mhm.
mean anything to a child that's 17.
Right. 18, 19, 20, 21, 30, 35, 40, and up. So that was good. We got the answer to that one. So that's a question mark with a ping at the bottom of it. So what
Okay, that's
about
it for the yay and nay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's it. We got one more. What about the weighted blanket for sleep? The
Weighted.
weighted blankets for sleep. Yay or nay?
Why would we have a weighted blanket for sleep?
Some people use for they like this because it's keeping weighted because it keep them warm. That's one I've heard people wear. I heard people love it because it keep them warm. They ain't gotta just keep them warm, keep their body warm, and they feel good about it.
So, what is the weights that are in the blanket?
it's
Metal?
to make
Make
make you feel like somebody's holding you. They do it for babies sometimes too, which I think is very potentially harmful,
What
especially when we
is
talk
the
about
weight?
SIDS. The
What?
weight is actually a heavy blanket. There's
No, no,
probably
no, no.
sand.
What's the heaviness part of that blanket? Get to the real issue. What is the weight of the blanket? Are we just talking about wool? Are we just talking about heavy cotton? What are we talking about here?
Mm-hmm. And what are we talking about here? We
Yeah.
talking
I want
about
to I
what
want to
is
say it's like a
weighted
sand
blanket
or
made
something inside
of?
of that. It's something that's not toxic, obviously.
What is the polyphenol, as they say, of the blanket? What is what was the reason for weighted blankets being made? Period. What was the reason for 'em? Weighted blankets are
There's
specially
yeah.
designed for therapeutic. For what though? Who came up with the idea of it being therapeutic? And how is it therapeutic if it's holding you down?
I'm still, no one's still answering my question because I don't know what the weight,
Glass
what's
beads.
making it weight.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. What is it
It
weight?
says
What
it
is it
says
made of?
glass beads, tiny, smooth, heavy like sand, hypoallergenic, non-toxic, less bulky, more breathable, feels quieter, and distributes the weight more evenly. So we're talking about glass beads in there. We're talking about sand in there. Something that makes the child, like when we make our kids like a little taco, which nowadays they have those blankets where you wrap the baby in, right? But then they had the weighted blankets to help the baby feel like you're holding him still. So he, we put a pillow on top of the baby, almost like, okay, that back in the days. Now you don't want to do that because the baby might suffocate on the blanket if he turns around, right? That, things change as we get wiser and older. But that's what the weighted blanket was for, basically, for someone to feel like somebody's holding them, or they feel like there's
Well,
deep
I,
pressure
I, that's
stimulation.
a hard one for me because I don't know about weighted blankets. I just know that I would not put my baby in a weighted
Yeah,
blanket.
we're not talking about
Even
basically putting on kids, specialized just for kids. We talking about
even
weighted
for
blanket
adults.
periods.
Yeah,
Period. Just
and it
the
all
weighted blanket
depends.
itself.
So it all
Mhm.
depends on what it's made out of, why you want to do that, and is it therapeutic for you? Is it an individual person that absolutely cannot sleep unless they have a weighted blanket? I would weigh the options
Mainly when
They
you
if
say
talking
it
it
about
would help
promotes.
replacing
that
it
person.
with mainly
I
when you
would
talking
weigh
about
the options.
replacing it with another body. What? We
Yeah.
are not going to that point. We are not getting ready to put a blanket and think I'm laying beside somebody. We are not about to mentally mess up my state of my bed or my thinking. I turn over and try to romance the blanket because I thought it was some. No, we're not going that route. We're not about to start romancing blankets.
Hey,
if
doc,
you're
we get it. Doc
if
says
you're in
no, no
menopause, you ain't
weighted
gonna get
blanket.
no weighted blanket. That's for sure. That's the
Right.
damn.
No weighted blankets. Okay, we got it.
When
We
them
got it.
hormones start kicking in, you're gonna really go crazy. All right, so here we go. Here's the last one. High sugars for brain boosting gummies. High sugars for brain boosting gummies. Yay or nay?
High sugar? Why high
High
sugar?
sugar brain boosting gummies for hey or yay, nay or yay.
I don't like sugar. I don't. I
Oh,
think the world is over sugar. Now we got to have gummy bears with sugar. I don't like sugar. Why do we need
we
sugar?
with you. We understand that. But why do they think
Yay! How you
everything
doing?
has to be?
Yay!
Why do
Yay.
everything has to have so much sugar? Is our main question.
Why? Why do we need sugar in gummy bears?
Because
Bing,
they
no
taste
answer.
better.
Well, that's cool. That's the addiction because that's addiction.
Yeah.
Because it's not it's still a drug at the end of the day.
You
It's
know,
an addiction.
because I think in our country we just have way too much nonsense to take our
Well,
money. It's like literally everything we talk about is always nonsense. And I still come from a
Nonsense.
more natural environment where I don't believe that we need to have high sugar in our brain to give us energy. I think we need nutrients. And guys, until we get that in our heads, we need nutrients. We need vitamins and minerals and amino acids and essential fatty acids. We are over sugar in this country, and that's why we have obesity. Now we're going to put it in gummy bears. Again, everything is depending on the specific person. It's all about personalized medicine, but we're not talking about that, are we? We're not talking about the fact that Johnny may need this. We're talking about, should we agree that we should all be doing sugar gummies? No. But can we take an isolated individual or an isolated child and give that person sugar gummies because that person needs it? Perhaps.
great topic, y'all. Great topic. The nays and yays, and you have gotten your answer, I hope, for the nays and yays. But guess what? We got a better thing coming up now besides the nays, yays, and everything else. We are going to go now to what? We're going to get some segments of our co-host that's going to come in, and she's going to address the red hot sizzling news known as Miss Sonia herself, who also have the sizzling hot news, which is based on giving us a flash related of the information that we just finished talking about. Sonia, 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 come on in with
My
that
goodness.
hot sizzling
We're like
news.
going all over the place here, which is awesome
We
because I
are.
think we are going to connect to our
We're on red
neurodegenerative
hot
folks out
fire.
there. They're going to see that we might be part just like you, and you can do this too. But let's talk about what's sizzling out there, not just in theory, but how the world is starting to honor neurodivergent brains. Okay. So first thing, pregnancy, diet, and brain development, ladies, especially if you're going to become pregnant. Maybe you have a daughter or you have a wife and you guys want to have a baby. Remember, there's brand new research following over 60,000 children found a strong link between ultra processed foods and pregnancy and a higher risk for both ADHD and autism. So you got to watch your diets, ladies. If you're going to plan to have a baby, guess what? What you eat, they eat. So you want to make sure you're eating nutritious, dense food so you and that baby can have the healthiest start when you have that baby. So, but here's the good news. Even small changes in your diet, like eating more whole foods and avoiding artificial dyes, right? Reduce those risks. So I want to make sure you know you can reduce the risk by how you eat. So I know you want the ice cream like I did in the middle of the night, but it might not be the wisest choice. Maybe some nice carrots, some celery with some peanut butter, and that might satisfy your craving for something a little sweet. Now, let's talk also about neuro inclusive workplaces. They're growing. I know I've gone to various companies, and guess what? They actually have like little lounge centers where the employees can lay back, relax, and congregate, which I think is really good. So big companies like Microsoft and Bank of America are now training managers to better support neurodiverse employees. They're adding quiet zones, flexible hours, even lighting changes. Yes, you at
Wow.
home can change your lighting and it will change your brain. It'll set the trigger to let it know it's evening time and it's almost time to go to bed. So putting those dimmers in your house might be a great idea. So it's not just about helping people survive out there, it's about creating spaces where neurodivergent people can thrive. So I want to make sure you guys know that. Now, the third news flash that I want to give to you guys: pushback on office mandates. How many of you guys have returned to work, right? Whether it be 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, or the whole week. There's a new wave of research showing that return to office mandates are hurting neurodivergent workers. The lights, the noise, the constant interaction can lead to burnout, believe it or not. So flexible options like remote working aren't a luxury. They're they're they are access tools for different kinds of minds. I know for myself, I had children, I told you, that might have had ADHD or ADD at the time when they were young. My teachers at that time learned how to work with my children. They would give them something to do at the same time that they were supposed to read. Or while they were reading, they would be cleaning the blackboards or something, you know? So there's ways to find a solution, maybe getting a 15-minute break after working a 45-hour string on some project, right? You will find ways to be able to do it. Now, from the womb to the workplace, we are seeing real momentum, guys. Neurodivergence is no longer something to hide. Everybody is different. Even Dr. Ronnie said it earlier. There might have been maybe a little bit of activity in her brain that was different, right? Somebody asked her to do something, she forgot to do it by the end of the day because she didn't put it in action at the moment when it was asked. We're all different, and there's different things that happen. If you feel that you have something that needs medical attention, obviously we're going to tell you, see a provider. Let them do a series of questions, maybe a battery, they call them different batteries that they do to help you. But it's something to honor. You're diverse being, the way you were wounded in your mother's womb, because guess what? God knew you before you were even born, is perfect and whole. You might just have a different beat that you operate on. So I want to make sure you guys all know that. Now, Ramunda, I'm giving it back to you. Um,
Appreciate that, Sonia,
oh,
because
you're
we
welcome.
really thank you for how you reflected on how the shift of the culture of the brain diversity is actually working today and what it takes. So what we're going to do now, we're going to shift back to Dr. Ronnie because we're about to take this to the closing stages of our show, which is the most beautiful part of our evening as well, is that we get a chance to give you a takeaway from what we've talked about with Dr. Ronnie, she's going to elaborate on the brain party that we've been having all night about the brain. We've been having a party about it. And so now we're going to close the party out because my brain needs to go and relax and rest. Dr. Ronnie brain need to go relax and rest, and Sonia brain need to go relax and rest, and so the back team brain need to go relax and rest, so we can reset for the next day. So, Dr. Ronnie, what we need you to do is give us a close out, a little summary of what we mean and how to what we went through this evening about the brain cells.
So I'm going to close out a little bit and I will allow Ashley to talk after this because this was a great subject and I'm glad we talked about this. So I always think in my brain, what do the neurodivergent people think? Do they know they are different? Yeah, they do. They know they are unique. They know that they're good with something, but they're constantly masking their social challenges because they're afraid of people like us who are neurotypical, right? We're neurotypical. So, what we do is we are now learning how to be more passionate and we're learning how to be more tolerant of them. But I think the real thing that we're learning that they are unique in a very special way. A lot of them are highly technical. A lot of them are very good at strength with new innovative things. A lot of them are really super good with technology, and I bet they're going to master this AI like you never believe. Now, that's not all of them, but that's a lot of them. And I think that we are putting them in the workplace. And we know that they have issues with sounds and smells and lights and all of these things, and that they're shy. And some of them don't talk, some of them talk too much. But I think the world needs to embrace them, to understand them, not just for them. I have to tell you, we need to understand them for us and the world, and we need to bring them in and no longer kick them aside and give them a pill because we now know, at least I know, the pills are not working because they tell me they don't work. Just between me and you, doc, I'm not taking that blue pill. I'm not taking it. I hope
I
this was helpful
understand.
for everyone. I'd like to hear what Ashley has to say. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley. Yeah, we're not taking the blue pill either because we already know what the blue pill does.
Hi, everybody. So I just kind of want to touch a little bit on what was discussed earlier. Um, in the past few years, that there has been a lot more information online, especially I've seen it on TikTok, where people are talking about their different symptoms that they're experiencing and their own ways that they have been able to cope. There's different apps. Sorry, I need to go back. There's different apps like Inflow, Calm, Time Tracker. There's all these different lists, ways to manage your time. And the way that the lists help is that sometimes you need that little dopamine hit, and that's a natural way to get it. You make your list, get your stuff crossed off, and it's something that you can feel happy about and grow from. There's so much more information out there. Um, I actually didn't realize that I was neurodivergent. It just TikTok happened to pick it up. I was seeing all these videos and I was like, maybe I could be because there's a lot of things that are similar in neurodivergence and in just normal life. People experience things differently and that helps to shape their life. But so I fortunately, um, through my workplace, have access to a psychiatrist. And so I formally was able to go in and get my information that way. But not everybody has access to that. But people do have access to the internet. And the internet has been a huge help with connecting people who are very similar in their experiences and just getting information out there because before there was internet you didn't know, you just had to deal with it and accept however you were. Now there's different tools out there that can help you along the way.
Wow. That's awesome. That's just, congratulations. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if it was TikTok. I don't know what happened, but congratulations, Ashley,
Thank
because
you.
you are now the what do you call it? The flower to the next generation of people. You can now help them because see what you just said was you came out and now you know that you are one of them, and then you get us on and now we're all talking about it, so you're already changing them. And I just think that's beautiful. That's brave and beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you,
Yes, you're
Ashley.
welcome. Thank you so much for y'all talking about it. And this was very informational. I've been taking notes. So I will be implementing everything that was suggested because it's trying to just navigate it without anything at all is wild. Let me
Yeah,
just say that.
yeah.
It's a
Right.
lot to handle.
Yeah.
I also want to remind folks out there, there is a national number in the United States that you can call. It's 988. If you feel yourself in a crisis, that you need to talk to somebody and you're not sure how to get the help that you need, if you just press 988, you'll get the support and the help that you need. It's a referral service and it's also a counseling service in case you are at that spectrum where you're suicidal or you feel like taking your own life. They are there to help you and coach you and get you the assistance that you need. So I want to make sure people know they're not alone. You're never alone. You can always tap into our resources that we have as well at Dr. Roni and tap in there and chat through us through the messenger. Tell us what you need, and we'll try to get that information to you as well. Thanks, Ashley. I think the information that you gave folks, and to me, it's hope more than anything, that you give hope. And that's the most important thing. You know, we need everybody in this world to be able to contribute. um, Everybody is special and everybody's unique, and we need you all to help with this thing called life. So I hope that you know that you're valued and you're loved here, especially on the show. You're one of our top producers. We enjoy you, and I'm so glad that you had the success you did with finding the tools that you needed to help with what you felt was needed. Now, I want to remember everyone, your brain is your superpower. It doesn't matter how it works. It may be perfect just in the way that it's working. I think it was you, Dr. Ronnie, that told me, if you're a night person, like I think you and me are night people, Dr. Ronnie,
Oh
then
yeah.
stay up at night. Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. But just get your 8 hours of sleep when you want, when you have to, right? You just got to give the body the rest that it needs. So don't fight yourself and think you're something's wrong with you because you're not the 10 to 6 a.m. sleeper. Just know
Yeah.
that as long as you get those 8 hours of sleep, it's the most important time. Obviously, most people are going to tell you try to get it during those late hours when it's nighttime. I don't know if it's the atmosphere or what that they're leaning towards, but as long as you get the 8 hours that your body needs. But I just want to remind you, it's time to own it, love it, and nourish it, your brain. And just want to remind you, this is Red Hot Topics with Dr. Ronnie, where the truth is on fire and the lies expire.